What's going on, Banana Squad? Today's episode is super special to me. I got Austin here from Fantom Alerts, and if you case you don't know, this guy is a big deal. He's the reason why I got into Fantom. I learned a lot from him. He does plenty of episodes, educational content that is not shills, it's not pump and dumps. He's just putting out quality content, inspired a lot for what I do. So, welcome to the show. Introduce yourself.
Thanks, man. Glad to be here, buddy. My name's Austin. But you kind of took it away. Thanks for the kind words, man. I'm the founder of FTM Alerts. I'm the guy behind the FTM Alerts Twitter, and I'm on Phantom Unchained with Beavis and Double Sharp and 24 and Clay, which is a show that we do weekly on Thursdays at noon Eastern. Watch it. And we have a Discord. I don't know. Long story short, I was just an early investor in Phantom, and when the network opened up, it was something that just thought, oh, maybe there should be like an alerts channel. Didn't really think it was going to take off, and it did, and kind of morphed into its own little entity, and here we are. So, oh, and by the way, I apologize for my voice. I'm sick. The whole family's sick. I'm running on Dayquil, Sudafed, and coffee in my Phantom cup. So, forgive me if it's not coming through that clear.
No worries. Yeah, this guy ain't no joke. We're going to show you his Twitter page. He's got over 134,000 followers. Yeah, Phantom Unchained. You're going already on episode 32 already tomorrow. Is that correct?
Episode 32. I can't believe we're all still here, honestly.
Dang. Yeah. So, you know what? Let's just get straight to it because I want this interview to be an interview of the interviewer. There we go.
Okay.
Well, I want to get to know who is really Austin. Can the real Austin please stand up from Phantom?
Sir, can
Because
I vape? I can
yeah,
vape
go for it.
during
Go
this?
for
All
it.
right. I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna do that while we talk.
Hey, you chill, you relax, because I want this interview to help people understand who you are. Like, what is your mindset? How you got into this? Because yeah, you produce all this great content, but if people want to be like, okay, who's this Austin guy? Why does he do this? Is he getting paid? What's his motivation? What's going on? I think it helps a lot of people that are coming onto the Phantom scene actually discover, like what is your reasoning for doing all this. So let's just go straight to it. Number one, Austin, are you getting paid? Like, is the Phantom Foundation giving you big bucks? Like, why are you doing all this work?
No, not getting paid. Which is so. All right. So I bought into Phantom in March of 2020, which was the Black Swan COVID is killing the world event.
Right.
Remember it very clearly because that's my son's birthday, and
Oh shoot.
so March 13th and 14th is basically when it all went to shit. And I threw everything but the kitchen sink at Phantom. It was below a penny. I think we dipped to as low as half a penny. And we didn't move above like 1.5 cents for 9 months. Like we stayed there. Nobody was buying this coin. It was a very, very tough time to be a holder. And but I was in a group. If anyone's watched any of my stuff, you probably heard me mention the Kings Telegram group, which is it's just a private Telegram group with a bunch of people that have been around Phantom for a long time.
Hmm.
And there were a lot of dots being connected as to what this was going to turn into, and blah blah blah. And then in October, I would say of 2021, is really when everything started taking off. And wow, no, that was way further down the line. When did all this happen? I'm sorry, October of 2020. Holy shit, man! I'm getting back. See, it's the Dayquil. It's the Dayquil, man. October of 2020 is
Yeah.
when all of this started taking off, and the token started moving. And then we got our multi-chain bridge around, when the hell was that? February or March or April of 2021. I forget
Hmm.
which. And when that happened, that's when FTM Alerts was created. But to go back on what I was originally saying, the headache that comes with getting paid in this industry is monumental, right? And I kind of always thought like FTM Alerts would have that Facebook moment, like where it's been free for so long and all of a sudden it has like this massive value attached
Right.
to it. And what I started to realize as I started doing this and gaining more followers and doing more videos and things like that is that the back end ad purchasing world within cryptocurrency is pretty slimy.
Mm.
It's pretty, it's, it, it gives people control over your time and your integrity. And, to be perfectly honest, being an early investor in Fantom, like, my time is worth way more than anyone's going to be willing to pay me to send a tweet out about them. And so the decision was made early on that we do this for free and we do it for fun. And Simone actually a while back said, "Hey man, if you ever want to chat about a Fantom grant, we can totally do that." And the decision was made that, to just preserve the integrity of what we're doing to ensure no money is changing hands, that just wasn't a good idea. And that's continued to this day. And everyone that works for FTM Alerts does so for free. The biggest, quote unquote payment I could say that anyone gets from this is you get interactions with the playmakers. You get to meet the people that are
Mhm.
making it happen at Fantom.
So essentially, the intangible asset is the fact that you got the connections, you got the community, and you can access that, which honestly you can't really sell, you can't really put a price on it. But man, you are like the hub, right? A lot of people, I'm sure projects come to you and say, hey, could I make this happen? Who can I get in touch with? And you're the go to guy for that, I imagine, right?
Um, most of my schedule is actually booked up by the guys at the foundation. Like, because what'll happen is somebody will want to come over to the network. They'll hit up Sam or Simone as one of
Mhm.
like their first stops. Second stop, they'll bring them over to me and start like a Telegram group. And so those are the guys that they keep me pretty busy. And another thing that's kept me really, really busy, and I didn't do this early on, but there came a point to where I was like, oh shit, we're growing like so big. I've got to figure out a way to figure out who's who around here. Like I've got so, and I say that to say this. So I started requiring that any project that hit me up that wanted to get on Twitter or do an AMA or whatever, they had to get on a video call with me first and foremost, which means cameras on, which means if you're anonymous, and you still have to get on a video call with me, because the only thing we've got is at FTM Alerts is our reputation. I mean, there's really nothing else to it. And if I were to attach our reputation to a project that ended up being shitty, that's for nothing in return, right? It's only to the
Mhm.
benefit of the project. That would be kind of crappy. So what I've started doing is requiring that projects get on a video call with me, and that ended up being like a full-time job in itself, because there's 3 or 4 of those calls happening every single day with AMAs peppered in between thus far. So that's become a big bite to chew, to be honest. But it's a real necessary thing.
So, are you ever concerned then that this Phantom, everything that you built, is going to become so big that it's no longer fun for you, and that you're going to want to scale back, hopefully not stop and just drop it, but everybody reaches a burnout point, right? So, what is your thought process moving forward with this?
Yeah. So my thought process is that FTM Alerts is not me. Like FTM Alerts was built by the Phantom projects. I mean, most of the reason that I got followers early on is because like Spooky Swap would retweet me, or Spirit Swap would retweet me, or Beethoven or these other projects would help give me some exposure. And so what happened is it kind of just brought everyone to FTM Alerts, which I thought was really great. Um, there is totally a burnout point, and I think my solution to that burnout point is going to be helping other content creators like yourself to gain the exposure that people were kind enough to give to me, right? So that I actually made a tweet last night that, if you're creating dedicated content for the FTM network, please send me a DM. And that was a big mistake. I got like flooded with DMs. But really what I'm looking for are people like yourself who have a YouTube channel that is dedicated, and you're putting out like actual real educational stuff. Like that's what we've always done, is it's about the education. It's not about like pumping this token or any of that shit. So
Mm.
that's my solution to it now. And then for anyone that ever watches Unchained, you might know who Crypto Clay is. He has come on as one of the co-hosts of Unchained, and he's also now my co-host for the AMAs. So over the next, I would say 90 to 120 days, I'm going to be transitioning him into full-time AMAs,
Nice.
and I'm going to actually pivot my content to be more like what you and I are doing right now, which is
Mhm.
I'm not going to be interviewing projects so much as I'm going to be interviewing people, because that's a hell of a lot more fun for
Yeah.
me, and that will reignite the fire under what I'm doing. Because I've done, I don't know the exact number, but it's around 150 AMAs in the last year, which is a shitload.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm kind of like tired from all
I
that, you know.
yeah, I can imagine. So, who are some people on your list that you would be like, "Ooh," your wish list, like top 5 people that you'd be like, "Okay, if I could just get an interview with them, this would be sweet."
Yeah, good question, man. I haven't really made a top five yet, because I'm just kind of like so focused on everything that I'm doing day to day. But I'll tell you, my inspiration for doing this is twofold, and we'll get into like we had talked before you hit record about like my interactions with the teams and why that was important to me. But
Mhm.
I was watching Up Only, you know, Up Only with Kobe
Yeah,
and
with
Ledger.
Kobe, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was
Yeah.
watching that, and that's a loose show where they shit talk with people and they ask about like, just random shit, and it's not pumping a project, it's talking about the industry as a whole. And while I am FTM specific, that's kind of like the direction that I would like to go. So I would like to grab community members, and I'd like to pull some people off of the uh, Phantom team, and you know, whoever's interesting around Phantom that's willing to get on camera and chat with me. Like that's who I would like to chat with.
Yeah, and the cool part is you have the foundation, right? You're not just some new kid on the blockchain. You're not
Nah,
just some new lame joke.
that
Yeah,
was
like
so bad.
I know, and I love it. I'm gonna embrace it all. But you're not just like some new person on the block that's just trying to interview anybody. You have been doing this for a long time. You've earned your right to do so, and as a result, I think that a lot of people just look strictly at numbers. And this is just my observation. People will look at the amount of followers you have, amount of subscribers, and if it's too low, they say it's not worth it. You don't have an audience. So I think that a lot of content creators go more towards the shilling side and the pump and the just always up only. It's going to go to the moon in order to
Mhm.
get that count. But then at the same time is the integrity and also the quality of the content. I feel like because you put in the amount of time and the effort, and so you got a lot of great quality, but you also have the numbers to show for it. You now have a very powerful platform to reach out to whoever you like, and they're going to accept that invitation. And you have all the videos to show for it as well. So I'm excited to see what you do, man. Because when you do transition to that, like, wow, it's going to be quite a journey. So I'm gonna
I
be
hope
staying.
so, man. I hope people dig it. I mean, even if people don't dig it, I'll dig it, and so that'll be cool. And like like honestly, one thing I haven't been able to do lately, just because I have not had the bandwidth, is the educational videos, which were kind of like my foundation of my YouTube channel, which is like, here's how you do this in DeFi. And
Hmm.
people love those. And like, those are the ones that get recurring views constantly. And people reach out to me going, wow, that was super helpful. And I just haven't had the ability to do that because I've just been so jam packed on my schedule lately. So I'm really looking forward to freeing that up.
So, what are your thoughts about content creators in general? Do you see a trend that's emerging? Because, for example, I see a lot of people they do want to do educational content, right? It does pump up the numbers, but in a good way, organic way. However, is there just too much? Does there become so much content and gets a little bit too far into depth that people don't follow it as much, and it gets really difficult to follow? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Not really. I mean, I see the expansion of the network happening at a much greater pace than the expansion of people that are willing to put themselves out there. Because there's a, you know this, man, and you'll know it more as you grow more, that there's a huge level of vulnerability that you have to be willing to accept to make content. You have to be able to like people criticize, and the bigger you get, the more trolls there will be. And you got to be kind of like, and I'm pretty thin-skinned. Like I've never been one that like was really okay with getting criticized. Like I never really liked it.
Uh,
But like that's part of it. So it's almost, to some degree, like if the content wasn't useful or if people didn't share with me that they found it useful, I wouldn't do it. Uh, because there's an alternate side to that, which is that people want to pick you apart. And for whatever reason, that happens. Like I've had people dude, there were some people that were like accusing me of being on the Spirit Swap developer team. Like I can't develop my way out of a paper bag. There were people that were saying like I was part of this Phantom Illuminati, like where I'm excluding develop. I'm like, dude, are you out of your mind, bro? Like none of that shit is real. But that is like what goes on in back end circles. And the bigger you get, like the more that shit's going to be slung at you. So
That brings up a good point then. So when it comes down to like projects, I mean, since you are the hub, right, and you do have a platform, you can naturally reach out to any probably project on Fantom and say, "Hey, I want to discuss, want to talk." You're probably getting exposed to a lot of alpha, right? So when it comes down to that, how do you keep that in your mind? Make sure not to really expose that too much, because on Fantom Unchained, you could just say, "Oh yeah, by the way, that project's doing this," and go, "Oh shoot, that was live stream.
yeah,
I
yeah.
take that back."
Um, I normally get very clear with like there are a few projects that definitely share some up and coming stuff with me. The Spirits Up guys, I definitely am, I'm on their advisory board, so they share all sorts of stuff with me, and I'm very close to Nick, Phantom DGen. Like he's one of the greatest guys in crypto, and he and I talk. At least we get on a call at least once every 2 weeks and hash out what's going on. Um, Dr. Liquid, he's another guy that I talk to all the time, and he shares with me stuff that's coming up. But I normally clarify like what I can share and what I can't, because honestly, the pushing of alpha is also a very pumpy thing. Like at first, it seemed like, oh, this is a good move. Like, okay, we'll call it, you know, like even the Discord servers, I think FTM Alerts Alpha, I think it still says that. Um, I don't really feel that way anymore. Like I don't really feel like that's the move pushing this information. Like it's all going to come out at its proper time. But I think just like the foundation, wasn't going to sling a bunch of money to bring mercenary capital over, like they were going to let it develop in its own way to create a real foundation. That's how all of this network is going to build. It's going to create a real foundation over time, and eventually it's going to be, the greater than the sum of its parts, right? Like we know that all the biggest projects on Fantom right now are coming out with V2s and V3s. Like it's happening. And most of that they've told me about. Um, and it's just I'm very, very excited for where it's going, but I don't really feel the need to my relationship with these people is much more important to me than, you know, likes on a Twitter post.
Agreed. I see where you're going with that as well, man. Because that is huge. Just having that ability to know what's going on, have that background information as well. And you're right, the information will come out eventually. So why rush it? I think a lot of people are at that mindset where they say, "I need these profits. I need these right now." And I think that there comes a time where people just slowly develop and mature with their assets as well. So what I mean by that is I got in a crypto thing. Okay, it's going to be a quick pump, right? Just get in, make that profits. And eventually I've just discovered it's no, this thing's going to be around here for a while. In fact, for a long time. Therefore, if I need to be chill and be patient, I need to do more research, really dive in deep, take a look at the developers, make sure that they're good. It's a solid project, blue chip, as opposed to just getting into the pump and dump. But now I look at Twitter completely differently because that's all I'm seeing, or not all that I'm seeing, but a lot of it is shill, shill, shill. But what's the point? So by taking a longer perspective at it, I understand that I can be patient more. So that's how I look at it. Is
Yeah.
that your thought process as well?
Well, I think the Shillers have their place, right? I mean, they must. I think for whatever reason on Fantom, I mean, don't get me wrong, we have a few, but we don't have a ton of them. And we, because the network has grown slowly and we've all kind of grown with the network, we've been able to hopefully preserve a little bit of that community feeling. It's not going to continue forever. Like it would be short-sighted to think that forever we're going to have like this close-knit community. But I
Right.
think the Shillers have their place. It was just a decision that I made to not go in that direction because, in
Mhm.
all honesty, like one thing I had to learn along the way, I actually hit up Mike Kong, and I said, "Hey, dude, can you have one of your lawyers like look at everything I'm doing and make sure I'm doing this legally because I do this for free, and I don't want to be getting outside of the legal boundaries of what I can and cannot say." And he came
Shoot.
back. He's like, "Yeah, you're straight, man." But my point in saying that is that if you get into the shilly pump and dump type of shit, you can be held liable for that. And if you're being paid, especially if you're being paid, and you're not disclosing that, and you're in the United States, which I'm in, there's a whole another leg of shit that comes along with that. So,
Yeah.
but it's the day Cole talking. I apologize, but like they have their place in the industry. It just wasn't the one that I wanted to take. I wanted to take the one of education, lower the barrier to entry, teach your grandpa how the principles behind yield farming. And I find that to be like super, super fulfilling and important to me.
Sure. So, where do you see Fantom going in the future? Because I see that there's a lot of innovation going on. You talked about V2, but you can have V2, V3, V4 all day, right? But it's the concept that there's innovation that's coming with it. I get very excited about researching financial NFTs, right? And that's just one example. We got Beethoven X with what they're doing on their side with the balancer fork, and now the what were they doing? The stable coins and
The boosted
getting
pools.
yield in the
Hmm.
liquidity pools, just like all these cool concepts and the innovations there. But at the same time, to what end? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Hmm.
you can innovate, you can get high yields, you can be more efficient, but what is the ultimate utility of Fantom? Where do you see that going?
So that's a great question that a lot of